Episode 21 of the Loose and Groovy Baseball Show. I don't feel like I have to really catch up with you, Parker, because I talked to you 2 days ago. But yeah, we've had some pretty rapid episodes here back to back, and today we're wrapping up our positional rankings. Sorry for the DH fans out there, but we're not doing DH. Today, or bullpen, I guess, for that relief pitching. But today we're doing starting pitching. Doing top 10 today. Honestly, all these guys are really good, so it might be more of just like a discussion about why we like guys more and maybe why we favor them. Because the numbers on all these guys are really good. Any team would be, I mean, these guys are pretty much aces on all their respective lineups for how much we're narrowing it down. So take all of our rankings with a grain of salt today. I think Parker can second this when I say it that all these guys are really good. And if we say anything bad about them, it's just to justify somebody else over them. So yeah, how you feeling about going into these rankings, Parker?
Good. I kind of like you were mentioning too. I don't think there's gonna be as much debate as the outfield ones, but um, I really don't have many hot takes on mine.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe we'll have some some discussions later on, but we'll see.
Yeah, I guess we'll see how it all goes. In terms of kind of stuff going on in MLB, did you watch Roki Sasaki at all, or at least some highlights from his
No,
debut?
I just looked at his stat line.
It's
I
pretty good.
saw some highlights on MLB too, so but looked pretty nasty from what I saw.
Yeah, this is the first time I watched him live, and the fastball is not great, and I think that's what a lot of people were saying, but the splitter is definitely looking how it graded out to be. It's a very, very good pitch. If he can get the fastball working with the breaking stuff, because the breaking stuff is already really good, the fastball also being great is really going to be his key to success here in the major leagues. But from what we saw so far, it looked really good, so that's exciting to see. Jose Iglesias also signed with San Diego. I think we brought up the other day how they needed infield help, so he should slide in there nicely after losing Hassan Kim. And
Mhm.
I guess who's gonna play? I guess Kim played second, right? And Bogarts played short.
For Padres,
Yeah,
yeah. So Kim's gone now, and then
it'll
yeah,
just be
I guess
probably
that makes sense. Just
Iglesias
filled
picking
in
up
right for
the
him,
rest.
but uh, it's a minor league deal too, which is crazy for Iglesias.
I guess he's old, and I mean, it was just 1 year last year of pretty good stuff, but it was really good for him to kind of just
Yeah.
get picked up and do that. So we'll
I
see if
think
he
I think
can.
they see it as a fluke, but I don't. I think he's still a good player, but I definitely don't think he's the caliber he was last year. But
Yeah, and you're probably not going to see the same amount of the vibes, I guess you could say, from
Mhm.
New York last year as you will see in San Diego. You can't really capture that again, I don't think. So, yeah, let's just get right into it. Parker, you have some more team trivia for me to try and figure out. Let's see what you got.
Yep. So same thing we've been doing. 90 seconds, give or take. And today's team, another kind of fun young team. With I don't know if I'd say high aspirations because I feel like the past couple of years they're looking to take that step forward and they've kind of failed to do so. But this year I could definitely with a new manager, one of the best managers ever, they could definitely take a step forward. If you want to name their manager too.
Okay.
Um, so I got this is the Cincinnati Reds. So after you name the first guy in his position, I will start the timer.
Can I say the manager real quick before you
Yeah.
start the timer? Terry Francona.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll start with Ellie De La Cruz at shortstop. Tyler Stevenson, I'm assuming is starting catcher, with Jose Trevino being the backup. Jamer
Okay.
Candelario at third. It's probably McLean at second right now, or is it Lux?
It's McLean. So
Okay.
don't worry too much about the infield, the positions, because it's all mixed.
Okay. First base, Christian Encarnacion Strand might be who they have right there
So
at
he's
first.
projected
Uh,
for the bench, and Jamer's actually first base projected,
oh, okay.
which would leave you to assume you already said Gavin Lux. He's projected third, but
Okay.
it's all up in the air
Yeah.
still.
Okay, so then Spencer Steer out in left field. Give me Jake Fraley out in right.
Jake Fraley projected DH.
DH. Okay. Um, that outfield, man. Who else is on that team?
There's a new guy that I told you I liked it because it was a good like value pickup.
Okay, I'll go to the rotation. So Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, um, oh my gosh, what's his name? He's another young pitcher that they have, and I can't think of his name. Green, Lodolo. He gets hurt too. Oh, this is gonna kill me. I'll take Alexis Diaz from the bullpen too.
Hmm.
Man, I don't think I'm gonna know it when you say it, but I think I'm gonna be able to get it off the
It's
top of my head.
it's a part of a big trade that happened early in the year that we talk about quite a bit. But we usually talk about the other side of the trade. Like one of the first trade that happened in the offseason.
Oh, Brady Singer. There you go. Um, that's actually not who I was thinking about though. There's
I
one.
know
Oh,
you're thinking about a different guy.
is it Graham Ashcraft? Is that who I'm thinking of? At least
No, he's projected bullpen. He's
okay.
usually garbage when he's starting.
Yeah. It's not.
But
I think Aaron Ashby is Milwaukee. I don't know why that name's coming up in my head.
AA, think about the AA. That's why.
It is okay. It is AA.
Initials AA.
Uh, I'm just gonna dance around it the whole time.
I think I believe he's a redhead. I don't know.
A redhead?
I
Oh,
I think
oh, like hair. Okay.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. That's
It
it's
might
gonna
he
be
might
tough.
not be. I might be totally off on that, but it's Andrew Abbott.
Andrew Abbott. Okay. There you go.
AA. And then Nick Martinez starter,
Mm-hmm.
and then yeah, I'll let you try to get this guy, but how many outfielders you say? You said
I just said Steer
Fraley, who's DH-ish outfield,
and then Spencer Steer.
Spencer Steer. Um, okay. This is the last one. This is a guy in the I don't know when they made this trade, but it was a trade with the Phillies.
The Phillies to get an
Or
outfielder.
was it a trade or was it free agency? I think it was a trade. Outfielder, kind of a platoon guy.
It's Austin Hayes. There you
Yeah.
go.
That was a trade, right?
No, he got traded at the deadline last year from Baltimore, and I think he was a free agent this year.
Oh, okay.
I
I
think.
think he only signed for like 3 or 4 mil too. I liked it a lot.
So is he projected to be right field then? Or
He's projected at it's actually kind of he's projected at left field, and then they
oh,
got TJ Friedel in center.
Friedel. Okay.
And it's
Got
weird because I don't even see Spencer Steer, if I'm gonna be honest with you. Oh, okay. So it says Steer shoulder discomfort. He had a surgery in this February. So
mm,
last month.
that's not good.
That's not good at all. No.
Interesting. Well, yeah, that is I think they had a pretty good offseason just looking at that then.
Hmm.
I feel like they filled a lot of holes overall. I still I think you saw that report. I think I sent it to you with Luis Robert Jr. They like had a trade or they almost had a trade worked out, but then it kind of fell through to get him there. That
Oh
would
yeah.
be a really solid fit, I think, for the Reds right now, just because, outfield help and one of the better guys you could buy low on right now. So we'll see
Yeah.
how they play out in the NL Central this year. That'll be one of the more interesting divisions to talk about as well when we get to that. But let's move on to our starting pitchers. Parker, I'll give it to you for number 10.
So for number 10, this might be a little bit of a hot take to even have him in top 10, but I have Logan Gilbert. I think he's extremely underrated.
Mhm.
He's been super consistent the past 3 years. I saw you nod your head, so you probably, I'm guessing you have him close, so I won't say a ton on him, but the past 3 years posted a 3.23 and then a 2.8. That's for WAR. And then in terms of ERA, 3.2 in 2022, 3.73, and then last year 3.23. Um, it's durability too, 185 innings, 190, 208. He kind of seems like all five of their starters are amazing, but he's kind of seems like the glue that kind of keeps them together. And it is sad because last year he was 9-12 on that team after posting the lowest whip, which is absolutely criminal.
Yeah.
Um, Real quick, did you see what Justin Turner said?
Yes, I did see that.
Just okay, so for anybody that hasn't heard, but Justin Turner was basically saying, like, why are the Mariners not doing anything? And he said they might have the best pitching staff in history, which is a little crazy, but I mean, it's always
It's
a
it's up there.
possibility.
Yeah.
Like this year, it could be the best ever. I don't know, but yeah, he just said like even if they went and signed him again, he was wondering why they wouldn't do more because they just have so much pitching. But
Right.
anyways, we get on the Mariners enough on this podcast, so.
I heard the other day for the first time, if they call them the Seattle Stranders because they don't have any hitting, so they just leave guys on base. And I never
Mhm.
heard that before, but I feel like that fit pretty well.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel like to be a strander, you have to get on base though. So maybe
that's true. Maybe,
maybe
yeah,
that's
maybe.
even a little bit of a compliment to them.
Okay, so yeah, the reason I was nodding, I'll merge my 10 and 9. I got two Seattle guys here for you. So Gilbert was 10, and I put Kirby at 9. I was going back and forth. I wanted both these guys in my top 10, but I wasn't really sure about it. But then I figured I just throw them both in. So honestly, their numbers are super, super similar. The only difference is Gilbert strikes out a little bit more guys, and Kirby like barely walks anybody. Like his Ks per nine, I think, is one, which is insane. He doesn't walk a soul, which is incredibly, incredibly valuable. That was kind of what gave me the edge because Logan Gilbert has better stuff, but I don't think it's like noticeably enough to like make me say, maybe I think I would just rather take Kirby, but you could flip these guys. I think in that rotation, when you're looking at the ace, it could be Kirby or Gilbert. It just kind of depends, but they're very similar pitchers to be honest. And then I guess you could say like I don't know. I guess Kirby Gilbert are probably like a tier one, and then I think Castillo slides in after them. And then is it Brian Wu and there's one more, I guess.
Miller,
Who?
Bryce Miller, do you say?
Oh yeah, so Bryce Miller. So then
Yeah,
I would probably say one of Kirby Gilbert and then probably Castillo and then one of Wu or
yeah,
Miller.
I
But
agree.
I would even say Miller or Wu could make a big jump this year too. So it's just like 5 days, man. You're gonna have a great starter for Seattle, which is insane.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, Gilbert and Kirby, I really like both of them. I already said Gilbert stuff is better. Kirby doesn't walk as many guys, so I don't have much else to say on that. They're both really, really good.
I'm gonna say okay. I'm gonna say both sides. I don't have Kirby on my list, but I'm gonna say both sides of the coin for him. First of all, he is. You were talking about it, with like walks and strikeouts and stuff, but his strikeouts per walk ratio has been the best the past 2 years. This year is 7.78. It was the best. Last year, it was the best by a huge margin. It was 9.05. Like what he can do in terms of throwing like fast, like I think he can touch like 97, 98 while still having control is like kind of unheard of.
Mm.
Like it's insane. His command is insane for how fast he can throw and how much he can strike guys out compared to limiting the walk. So that it's super impressive. What kept him off my list was again, it kind of goes with the cores effect that I was talking about last year with the Seattle
Oh,
effect. But his ERA plus was 104 last year. And I don't want to do that to a guy that had a 3.53 and pitched 200 innings. Like that's not really fair. But for a top 10 list, I couldn't do that. Gilbert's was still it was like 114 or something, but they
yeah.
take huge hits from pitching in Seattle that it makes me wonder like what would he be on another team, which he'd still be very, very good. Don't get me wrong, but
So I just pulled up his home and away splits. It's there's a difference for sure. So home last year, 82 innings at a 3.06. Away he had 108 innings at a 3.89. So yeah, there definitely is.
which is still decent, but
Right, but you can tell there's a difference. And then I also looked up, so he uses a four seam slider sinker primarily. The four seam gets up to 96, and then the sinker is also at 96. So like you were saying, he's got pretty good velocity on that for a guy that doesn't walk a lot. His walks, by the way, the past 3 years, 130 innings, 22 walks, 190 innings, 19 walks, 191 innings, 23 walks.
crazy.
That's
So
in crazy numbers.
that's like saying he'll pitch what is that, like 5 innings or 6 innings, and he'll only walk one guy like
Yep.
max a day. That's
You got to get a hit off him to get on base. That's
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 tough.
that's extremely valuable.
Real quick before I go to nine, but since you brought up his individual stats, I'm gonna say the Mariners pitching staff, they're splitting split stats. And I've looked at this before, and it's kind of
Scary.
scary to look at. But their away is 4.18 and their home is 2.85. Um, and I don't think that's completely the ballpark. I think there's other factors in there, like it could just be coincidence partially, but
Yeah.
um, I think those will be a lot closer this year. I don't I That's a little extreme, but just something to keep in mind. There's still an amazing pitching staff, don't get me wrong, but
But it is a
okay.
big swing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my number nine, I actually really like this guy. I wanted to put him like a spot or two higher, but I just couldn't with the guys above him. But I said Framber Valdez. Framber is so good. Um, just looking at his, you can go all the way back to 2019. He had very, very rough, 5.86 and 70 innings. And then since then, he's posted a 3.57 on the shortened year in 70 innings, a 3.14 2021, 2.82 in 2022, and then a 3.45 and then a 2.91 last year. And innings, his last three, 201, 198, 176. Strikeout, not going to strike out a ton, but he's mostly known for like to be the best ground ball pitcher in the MLB.
Yep.
And then like this is interesting. So like Kirby Yates, 104 ERA plus. And I don't want to use this stat too much, but it does mean something. And then Logan Gilbert, I think I said like 114, 118 ERA plus last year. So Houston's kind of the opposite. That's a hitter's park. So I'm gonna say the past 5 years, 125 ERA plus, sorry. 137, 135, 123, and 136. So for pitching in a park that favors hitters that much, he's been amazing, and he's kind of carried that pitching squad with all the injuries with like Lance McCullers and Justin Verlander when he was getting injured all the time when he was on their team. He just kind of been the glue to hold them together. He was 15-7 in 2024 with a 4.5 WAR. So super high on him, only going in his age 31 season. So yeah, Framber Valdez.
Do
And
you
then my number eight,
wait really quick? Sorry.
yeah, oh, you're
This
good.
might be a little longer too, but so I noticed I think it was what year? 2022 was like his best year, and he had a 201 innings at a 2.8 ERA, and I was like, dang, that's a pretty good season. He finished fifth in AL Cy Young voting. Do you want to give a crack at the other four guys in front of him?
Oh my gosh.
So I'll give you the teams.
Oh, was that JV's last good year, or was that 2021? Was JV first?
Yeah, he won it that year.
Okay, that's awesome. 1.75 year, I think,
Yep,
or something. Okay.
575 innings. The second place guy is a White Sox, former White Sox.
Dylan
Third,
Cease.
yep. Third was a Blue Jay, and fourth was an Angel. The Blue Jay is still with the team. Angel is not with the team anymore.
Is the Angel Otani?
Yes, it is Otani. He had
And
166
then
innings at a 2.33.
is the Blue Jay Gosman?
Not Gosman. Nope. This guy kind of fell off.
You say he's on their oh, you say he's on their team or no?
I think he's still on their team. Yeah.
Oh, I don't want
He was great and made the All-Star game this year, I think, too. And then he has fallen off a cliff pretty much. And he's kind of like come back here and there, but not nowhere near this level.
Hmm. I guess I'll just throw Jose Barrios.
No, this is Alek Manoah.
Oh my gosh, dude,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yep.
Alec Manoa. Yeah, I guess I should have, but
It's tough. It's tough.
that I'm so interested to see what he does this year because he had good starts last year. It's just so weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
People
The
were saying the
time
pitch clock and
down at AAA is kind of funky. And I
yeah.
also will say the ground ball percentage thing. Framber, he had 60% ground ball percentage last year. That was 2% higher than any other pitcher. So the stats back you up on that one too.
Yeah. Okay, so I love this next guy, and I've talked to you about it, and you weren't like as huge into baseball, so you might not understand the prime of this guy.
Okay.
But this is Jacob deGrom. I don't care if he's come back from the injured reserve, whatever they call it now. I don't care if he hasn't pitched in a long time, and if when he does pitch, it's not very much. If he has any chance of putting up like 150 innings even, um, I can almost guarantee he's gonna finish top five in the Cy Young. He is so amazing. So Jacob deGrom number eight. Last year, only 10 innings, 1.69 ERA, kind of sad. He was very, very like devastated if you watch the interview after he found out he was gonna miss the rest of the season. It's so sad to see. 2023, 2.67 in 30 innings. 2022, 3.08 in 64 innings. 2021, he had like a historic start, 1.08. In 92 innings, he posted a 4.5 WAR with a 7-2 record. And then 2020, 2.38 in 68 innings. And then 2019, uh, his best year, 7.2 WAR, 2.43 and 204. And then like all the years before that, he was like super consistent, super durable. And then it just kind of hit him. I don't know. He's going into age 37 season. I know. Do you have him on your list first?
No, I don't.
Yeah. And there's a lot of argument against this. Like he's going to be 37. He has not shown any signs of life of even pitching over 100 innings since
Yeah.
2019. But he is just so next level.
Right.
Strikeout to walk ratio, or I'll just say strikeouts per nine. Starting in 2017, 10.7, 11.2, 11.3, 13.8, 14.3, 14.3, 13.4, and then 11.8 in the only 10 innings last year. But
Wow.
just super impressive. What do you guys say about this guy? It's
Uh,
kind of bold, but I think he's going to be so
no,
good.
no. I don't think it's crazy to have him in the top 10 at all. I think the difference here is just like I would honestly just say it's our experiences because you watched him at his prime and you know what he is capable of. And then me, who is just looking at stats, looks at the past, couple seasons and sees he
Yeah.
only pitched 50 innings. And for me, availability is a big thing for pitching.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to bank on DeGrom to pitch a full season. And even, what does a full season look like? It probably is pretty good, but it's just like I don't know. There's a wealth of talent with guys that pitch consistently and pitch pretty good that it was just kind of hard for me to say I should put him on this list. But I totally respect it. I'm not gonna like diss you for that. And I've seen him actually higher on some other lists, so I don't even think that's too outlandish. So coming in at my number eight, I've got Chris Sale up here, and it might seem I guess, kind of low because I mean he's the NL Cy Young, led the league in ERA last year and in FIP, which is fielding independent pitching. It pretty much takes into account what the like pitcher can control in terms of the outcome of the play. He was also the leader in WAR, 177 innings, good strikeout numbers, pretty good walk numbers as well. So I mean, it was a fantastic season from Sale. I think just the age and the injury concerns are kind of what scare me off here. I'm not saying he can't do this again, but are we really going to see a better season from Chris Hill than this? I don't really know. But still, I mean, he's really good, and I'm not going to just kind of ignore what he did last season. I'm just probably projecting more of a regression from what we saw last year, kind of going back to the mean of what Chris Hill can still do. So I think that's pretty justifiable. And then at my number seven, I've got Garrett Cole. And speaking of injuries, I guess. Um, yeah, last year, I don't know do you know what the injury was for him that kind of helped made him miss like half that season, or the first half?
I know there was a strong fear that he was going to need Tommy John, so I'm guessing elbow.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, he pitched 95 innings last year, and that was at a 3.4. But I guess this is the argument against like a DeGrom pick is the previous 3 years it was 181 innings, 200 innings, 209 innings, and these are all at a pretty good ERA clip as well. Um, when I hear guys talk about him, they talk about him like he's kind of like on a Skeens level of stuff and can be in the argument for one of the best pitchers in the world at his best. And that kind of weighed on me too. Again, not a guy I've watched a lot of baseball and a lot of pitching from, but I'm kind of just going off of what I heard and kind of what other people say about him. And also, I think the numbers do back that up from previous years. So I'm willing to bet on a step back here for Cole and kind of a good bounce back season in New York for my number seven.
Okay, I like it. My guys are definitely not too far off, but my number seven, and I wanted to put him not so much higher, but like I wanted to put him higher so badly. And I'm super high on this guy, and we've talked about how much we like him, but I got Logan Webb, just so durable.
Hmm.
That's like the biggest part of his game is the last two game sorry. The last 2 years he's led the league in innings pitched. Um Strikeout to walk ratio in 2023 he led. So that was 6.26 he led. Just to show you how impressive Kirby's 9 was. So he led with 6.26 in the NL. In the AL, Kirby led with 9. Just mind blowing.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of WAR, dating back to 2021, 3.9, 4.6, 5.7, and then 3.7 last year. ERA is super consistent, 3, 2.9, 3.25, 3.47. Every year you can almost pencil in that he's going to start at least 30 games. It's gotten to that point, and in a pitching world where injuries are just so like common and they're almost like guaranteed in at least a 3 year span for an individual pitcher, he's kind of beaten that. And I think there's a lot of value in that. And that's why I wanted to put him higher. But still, nonetheless, number seven, Logan Webb, amazing. My number six, I have Chris Sale, number six. And this is another guy where it's like, if he's healthy, I think he's like very good. Like we saw last year, where he won the Triple Crown in the NL. 6.2 WAR, like you said, love league, and then 18-3 record, insane. 2.38 ERA in 177 innings, led the league in strikeouts, the National League. ERA plus 174, absolutely insane, and then a 2.09 FIP. So if you look at Savant, all the underlying numbers back him up completely. Um, just absolutely nasty. If you watch him, I'm sure you've seen a couple either
Yep.
highlights or have watched a start or two, but absolutely nasty. Like it kind of I've mentioned this before, I believe, but it's kind of like that Randy Johnson, like lefty, kind of weird, like arm slot. Like I do not understand how anybody could hit him.
Yep.
In terms of a lefty, I have no idea how
Good
these
luck.
guys even touch him, which I guess they don't if he's posting up these numbers. Um, but yeah, just super impressive. Number six, Chris Sale.
Yeah, I was gonna mention no Schultz in the Chicago farm system.
Yeah,
He's like
that's
a
similar.
clone of Chris Sale, and he'll probably get traded, at some point too. Because
Okay, don't be too pessimistic.
well, I mean, it's Crochet and it's Sale. I mean, they're both gone now, both got traded, so you never know. I mean, but hey, I'm hoping that
Take those 6 years of control.
I know, but that could be good trade value too.
That's
If he
true.
pitches 2 years and then you get 4 years left of him. Okay, I'm on six. This is where I put Corbin Burns, the new Arizona Diamondback. This dude is so good. Again, another guy that's going to pitch a lot of innings. I was looking back at 2021. That was his Cy Young season in Milwaukee. 167 innings. This was kind of his first full year as a starter, which makes that even more impressive. He had a 2.43 ERA, a 1.63 FIP, which is I don't think I've ever seen one that low. That's incredible, especially seeing the difference between that and his actual ERA. 12 strikeouts per nine and a almost seven strikeout to walk ratio. That was a really good season, and he's kind of kept it up since then. 2.94 in 22, 3.39 in 23, and then a 2.92 in 2024. And that was after kind of I don't want to say like bad second half, but it definitely he was struggling a little bit towards the end of the season. I can pull up the splits really quick. Um, let's see. Yeah, so pre All-Star, he had a 2.43 ERA with a 1.04 whip. Post All-Star, it was up to 3.69 and a 1.18 whip. So he definitely did struggle a bit towards the end of the season, but still struggling for Corbin Burns doesn't look. It's a lot better than a lot of guys' best. So yeah, he's really really solid. I think Arizona's going to love him and really going to need him this year to complement that amazing offense. And I'm excited to watch him pitch in Arizona. I think he's in line for another fantastic season.
Mhm.
At five, this is where I have Logan Webb. I'm a really big Logan Webb guy, and I know you are too. I would echo everything that you said. This dude's a stud. Projections also really like him heading into next season. They actually have him second in WAR for next season, the Fangraphs projections behind your guy Scooble. 195 innings, 3.22 ERA with a FIP lower than that. So, I mean, they think he's going to replicate and do it again, and I have no reason to believe that he won't. Yeah, you love seeing guys that still kind of go late in the games and still might give you 9 inning starts or a complete game. And Logan Webb is definitely one of the few guys that can give you that, and I think that's just incredibly valuable. And San Francisco's lucky to have him. So,
Yeah, I like it. Um, I guess my only fight is the Corbin Burns, but I don't have him. I only have him a couple spots higher, but
yeah,
I
it's
think his consistency proves a little more. But I mean, I don't know. These guys are. It's so tough. They're all so interchangeable. Other, I think the top four, I think, could all be like switched around, but we'll get
yeah.
to
I think we'll have the same top four. I'm curious if you. I'm actually really.
we will not.
We won't.
We will not.
Oh wow. Okay.
I do have Corbin Burns. Uh,
Okay.
but
So we. Okay. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So my number, I'm on five. I got Garrett Cole at five. The the injury did scare me a lot. I thought he was gonna miss the whole year because usually I when teams say that they're worried that they might need Tommy John, like they're kind of in that in between, like they were with Garrett Cole at the beginning of last year. I almost can guarantee you can almost guarantee that they're gonna get Tommy John because like
Yeah.
that's just been the smarter option. But they decided not to, and it did seem to pay off. In 95 innings when he came back, 3.41, posted a 2 WAR in only 95 innings, which was good. And then the postseason, just he's always very, very good in the postseason. So it did work out. Hopefully it doesn't come to bite him this year or next year. But just looking so consistent. He won a Cy Young in 2023, 2.63, led league or led starting pitchers in WAR with a 7.4 and 209 innings. And then you keep going back 3.5, 3.23, 2.84 in the COVID shortened season. He's finished top 10 in Cy Young every year since 2018. Um, and then looking at that 2019 year, this is insane. Like I remember seeing a stretch where he had it was like 25 starts or something. And you might have seen this graphic, but it was that 2019 bearded Garrett Cole
Yep.
Astros era. What was his ERA? Do you remember? Have you seen that? Was it like 1.5 or something?
Let me pull it up for you.
Look up that insane stretch because and Verlander ended up winning that Cy Young, which is crazy. They were both on the same squad. Garrett Cole had 326 strikeouts. Again, compared to Chris Sale, who led the National League with 225. So he had 100 more strikeouts than this last year's NL leader in strikeouts. So just another insane thing. But him and Verlander were on a sensational run that year. So I just wanted to point that out.
So it looks like I'm not sure what the specific period they were going off of, but at least pre-All-Star, post-All-Star splits, it was a 3.09 in 116 innings before the All-Star break. After the All-Star break, he went 11 and 0 with a 1.79 ERA in 95 innings, a .74 WHIP.
Yeah.
So they were not touching him at all. You should look at his baseball savant too when you get a chance for 2019. It's pretty bright red in a lot of spots.
Oh boy. Yeah, I got it up right now. It's just insane. And those two pitchers, Verlander and Cole, I guess especially Cole, they catapulted them to the World Series that year. They ended up losing to the Nationals, but I can't imagine facing the 1 and 2 Cy Young
Yeah.
finalist in game one and game two of the World Series. But anyways, Garrett Cole, number five. If he's healthy, another one of those guys that I think he's gonna be very good. And see, a lot of these guys that we're talking about, at least like Garrett Cole, Chris Sale, Jacob DeGrom. I guess you didn't have Jacob DeGrom, but they've shown like they're older, like they're heading into their mid 30s to even late 30s. But these guys are still doing it.
Yep.
I hope that Max Scherzer can post a good year this year to keep up with the older guys. And Justin Verlander, but th those two guys are the oldest. But
Right.
anyways, for four, this is where I have Corbin Burns. And like I said, I these top four I think could be like interchangeable. Like I could definitely see Burns being the best pitcher. I'm sure you could see that too this next year. Like it would not surprise you if he won the Cy Young. Um, but he's finished also in his last 5 years since the COVID year, which was his breakout season, definitely. Top 10, I guess top eight in Cy Young each of those years. Going back to 2020, 2.11 and 60 innings in the COVID year. And then I guess his true breakout season was 2.43 and 167 innings with Milwaukee, winning the Cy Young in 2021 with a 5.3 WAR, and then 2.94 with a 4.3 WAR in 2022, 3.39, and then 2.92 this last year. Just super consistent. Gonna post a minuscule whip every single year. 0.94, 0.96, 1.069, 1.09. Just nobody's gonna get on base. He's not gonna walk you much. He's gonna strike you out a decent amount. Not one of those crazy strikeout guys, but he's still very capable of throwing 200, 240 strikeouts in a year. So,
Right.
um, I think this is the best move in the offseason was the Diamondbacks signing Corbin Burns. In terms of elevating a
Yeah.
team that had the best offense last year and their pitching kind of killed them, like to not even make the playoffs to that point, to pick up a guy that's I think one of the best pitchers in the league is cannot be under so it's just insane. Corbin Burns number four. I believe you are next.
Do you have Garrett Crochet on your list?
I do not.
Okay, so that's where we're in disagreement. So he's my number four.
I figured you'd have him, but I thought by now you would have had him, but
Yeah,
I'm not totally against it, honestly.
yeah. So a lot of people are really, really, really high on this guy, and I think the numbers back that up. So he didn't pitch a lot of innings last year, so he wasn't technically qualified, but he pitched 146. He had the highest Ks per nine in the MLB with like for like a starting pitching amount, it was definitely the highest. I would say if you're kind of above that 120, 130 range, maybe even 140, I would say starting when like you're a starting pitcher. So highest among that group. Um, ERA was a 3.58, but his FIP was 2.69. So that's a testament to how good your White Sox defense is. Um, he finished eighth in WAR despite like pitching way less innings. He was 30 below any other guy, but still was kind of up there in the WAR. Underlying stuff, also really love him. He's a fastball cutter guy. That's all he throws. 53% four seam, 28% cutter, and it is devastating to hit against this guy. His extension is also really good. It's something we haven't really talked about. But his extension is among one of the best in the league. K percentage very high. Doesn't walk a lot of guys either. With chase, all really good underlying stuff here. I think he's due for a really, really, really good season. Projections also love him a lot. Fangraphs has him finishing fourth in WAR. They have him set out for 135 innings. I think he's going to pitch more than that, to be honest. He was limited and pitched 146 last year. I remember we would always talk about, he'd go 4 innings, but strike out like 9 guys in that 4 innings. I think he's going to pitch more than 135. They have him at a 2.93 ERA with a 2.74 FIP. I just think he's due for kind of a really, really good season. And it is bold to put him at four above some of these other more established starting pitchers, but the strikeout stuff is unlike any of these other guys, in my opinion, at least what we saw last year. And I think that is warranting enough to kind of give him the bump and project a really, really good season. I've seen AL Cy Young for Garrett Crochet. Do you think that's within reach?
I think it's within reach, but the reason I didn't have him here was, first of all, 2023, all the way up until 2023, he was just a reliever, so
Right.
no build
And
up there to be a starter.
he didn't play all of 2022 with injury as well.
Yeah,
So that was another thing. And he only pitched 12 innings in 2023, like you were saying. So
right. So that scares me a lot. And then last year, the whole like pitching 4 innings, and I know the White Sox were saving him. Like that was
good point.
a big reason why that they didn't want to like throw him out there 7 innings and risk injuring him because they wanted to get a return on him. But it's like that 135 that you said, that projected 135, like there's no way I can put a guy in my top 10 if he's not even projected to have 150 innings.
Yeah.
And that's where I would hesitate on the Cy Young talks is
Just not going to
I
pitch
want my
him.
Cy Young to pitch at least 150 innings
Yeah.
and like
But
coming from
I
the
think
bullpen spot. So
I think like if we say like no injuries or anything, I think he's gonna pitch 150. Yeah, he has to.
I would say because last year was 146. They were taking it easy on him. Like I said, the White Sox were. That was his first year starting. That's another reason. They're definitely. I would definitely ramp him up, and then if he does that and if he's healthy, yes, he's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
But that's the only part where I kind of hesitate.
And that's fair. I think it is easy to make like to see what he did last year and then make a big step forward to say like, oh yeah, Cy Young candidate, gonna be
Mhm.
really good, but we're gonna wait and see. So I can totally understand an argument for either side. So moving into our top three, and this is where I think we do have the same top three. I think it's pretty clear, but I know who your number one is for sure. But for three, I have Paul Skeens. I've seen this is January falls in the top three. I've seen him as high as one. Um, I mean, I don't even know what I need to say about Paul Skeens. I think everybody knows who that guy is right now.
It's
Uh,
just waiting. He could be number one. It's just so hard to put him at one being a
yeah.
rookie. That's
The way people talk about this guy is he's going to be the next, like he's going to be the best pitcher of all time. And I mean, I won't disagree with that. 133 innings, a 1.96 ERA. He finished third in the Cy Young last year as a rookie. One rookie of the year too, of course, in the NL. Oh my gosh. Yeah, he's really, really good. Really fun to watch also. I'm looking forward to watching him pitch again in Pittsburgh this year and hopefully get a good full season going. Um, he's added, I think he has 8 pitches now, by the way. He's
yeah. He's
added
added more.
some
I
in the
saw that.
offseason. So he's got the four seam slider, he's got the splinker. Um, I think he added a slider, and I know he has a curveball. It like the pitch arsenal is not lacking, and that's pretty. I mean, we just talked about Crochet, he's a two pitch guy, and now we moved to Skeens, who has like could throw almost anything.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, he's gonna be really good. And I don't really question people who put him at number one. Based on what we saw last year, I think that's pretty fair to say. The projections do like him quite a bit. They have him pitching 155 innings at a 3.7 WAR. ERA would be at a 3.25 with a 3.17 FIP, so very respectable numbers. Maybe not as elite as we saw this rookie season, but still, I think they're projecting to be pretty solid, and I think we're due for a fun year of Paul Skeens.
If you had to, let's say, ignore those Fangraph projections, what would you project in terms of, let's say, innings, WAR, and ERA, like you said?
I would say I think like 180, 186 innings. I don't see how his ERA gets above a 3 to be honest with you. I would put it at like a 2.4 maybe, like a 2.4 ERA and give me like a 5.2 WAR or something like that.
I think the WAR, yeah. See, like saying that 5.2 would be low, just the fact that his B WAR, I think his Fangraphs WAR was lower, but his
Yeah,
B WAR,
I'm going off Fangraphs WAR. So
what was
that'd
the
be
Fangraphs WAR last year?
Fangraphs had him at a 4.3, which is pretty high for only 133 innings.
Okay, yeah, because he had a 5.9 on B WAR, which is
Yeah.
a huge difference. I don't know what's up
Yeah,
with
they do
that,
it.
but
It's a different, but
I I also had him at my three. Um, he's so good. Same thing you said. Sound like a broken record now, but he is insane. 1.96 ERA. And something interesting is so they waited to bring him up because of service time. Because if I don't know this 100%, so take everything with a grain of salt, but if you don't bring a guy up in like that first month, you can bring him up later on in the year and it doesn't even count as a year of service time, which is
Yes.
interesting. But if you bring them up and then they win the rookie of the year, no matter when you brought them up, it counts as a year of service time. So the Pirates kind of got screwed on this because, and it's their fault for not bringing him up right away because he was ready, obviously.
Yeah. Right.
But if they brought him up what like halfway through the year or a little bit earlier than that.
Yeah. I
He won the
forgot what
rookie of the
month,
year.
but
Yeah, he won the rookie of the year. So then he already got a year of service time now because of that. So that was huge for him.
so he did get a year of service time because he
Yeah.
won. Interesting.
But if he didn't win Rookie of the Year, he wouldn't have, to my
Oh.
understanding, which is super
Huh.
interesting.
So that does kind of suck for Pittsburgh because, I mean, let's be honest. Do you think they're going to pay him in 6 years or 5 years or whatever it is?
I do not know.
No.
Do you?
So no. Now with after this offseason especially too, they did nothing. So I mean, yeah, I don't.
There's no way. Maybe that's what they're saving for, is 6 years.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother can of worms to open is the Pittsburgh Pirates rotation and how bad that offense is. But yeah, it's for the NL Central video.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I don't really know what more to say. You kind of said everything. He's so good. 11-3 record on the Pirates, who had a abysmal offense. Posting an
Mhm.
11-3 record is insane. Finishing third in Cy Young, being a rookie, being drafted, was he drafted in 2023?
Yep.
Drafted in 2023, and then the next year being third in Cy Young, beating out guys like the Logan Webb finished second. Chris Sale or no Wheeler, Chris Sale Wheeler, and then so being a guy like Logan Webb who pitches up 200 innings and he's been there
Yeah.
coming up halfway through the year and it's just insane. Not much more to say. His baseball savant is also super red, so it's not like this was like a fluke or anything
No.
like that. But I would say in terms of my projections, I wouldn't say 2-4. I think that's a little low, but um,
Yeah.
I'd put him at like a three. I put him at like a 2.9.
That's,
Um,
yeah. I
definitely
think
some
that.
regression, but like that's still one
Right.
of the best pitchers.
Yeah.
Um, and then I don't know if he can reach that 180, 190 innings mark.
I
Like
just
last
don't.
year, the build up, you think? I
Yeah.
think there's probably going to
They
be a build.
were. I remember towards the end of the season, it was like it was kind of like waiting for Skeens to like, okay, we're gonna like limit you and limit you. He was going 6 innings almost every single time, I think. But I think he could have kept going. I think they were just pulling him to pull him and give him the quality start and leave it at that. I don't know. I would have
I
to
think
maybe
it's
look at
crazy.
some
I'd
of the
say I'd say 170, 180.
yeah. I don't I 200 I think is out of reach, but I would expect a pretty big jump from what we saw this year.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so my number two. You guys probably know my number one. I mean, but my number two is Zach Wheeler. In terms of regular season stats, again, crazy, super, super, super good. I think he's underrated, honestly,
Oh,
which
100%.
might be crazy to say, but going back to 2018, his breakout year with the Mets, 3.31 in 180 innings, 3.96, 195. COVID year, 2.92 in 71 innings, 2.78, 2.82, 3.61. Kind of a down year in 2023, but that's still a good pitcher. Still posted a 4.2 WAR, but and then this last year, 200 innings on the nose, .955 WHIP, which led the league in hits per nine, with a 2.57 ERA. Just so good. And like almost the biggest thing with Zach Wheeler that sticks in my head is watching him in the postseason. He is
Hmm.
crazy. So let me see. So 2023, Zach Wheeler in the postseason, 27 innings, 1.95 ERA. And think about this, like he's facing the best offenses. So this isn't you can't just compare this to the regular season. Like he's facing
Yeah.
the best lineups in the National League. And then you go back to 2022, 2.78 and 35 innings. And then last year he pitched 7 innings, didn't give up any runs, struck out 9. But they didn't go very far, so that's why you're not seeing that big sample size. But
Yeah.
just postseason numbers are crazy.
It's a
Um,
2.18 career ERA and 70 innings in the postseason. So
that's that's
he,
insane,
he
dude.
brings it.
Do you have him at 2 or 1?
He's two. I have Scooble
Okay,
at one.
so if you wanna, you can kind of piggyback off that. I won't say
Yeah.
two.
Um, I definitely agree with your underrated take. I think if you ask somebody to like list off some of the like who they think the best pitchers are in the league, I think a lot of people would forget about Zach Wheeler and maybe the more like casual-ish baseball fans. But when I look at like what I want in an ideal pitcher, I think Zach Wheeler fits the mold like perfectly
Mhm.
because it's consistency and it's at a very good level as well. And I mean, that's kind of it. You don't really see guys go 200, close to 200 innings or not hit less than 150 outside of 2020 and be this good. Like, I don't think anybody else can really compare to what Wheeler's done in terms of health and overall level of play. And I think, yeah, that warrants him to be ranked as one of the top pitchers in the league. Until he shows me that it'll be something different, there's no reason to believe it won't be. So, yeah, he's so good for Philly. I really hope that they can make a good push with this guy. They should be able to. Having him as your kind of one starter in any series is such a huge advantage for the playoffs. So really hope that he's another great season and can keep pushing it into the playoffs. And then we can kind of do just a mesh number one with your guy, Tariq Skubal. Honestly, he kind of has like I don't want to just say it's like Garrett Crochet, but like in a way it is a little similar. And he pitched 149 innings in 2021 along with 2022, he pitched 117. 23, he had 80. But then this year, you see him make the big jump and become that kind of ace that they are hoping to be. And it is definitely a lot different of a track than Crochet. He's pitched a lot more leading up to this than Crochet has. But kind of similar things. Very strong lefty, really good strikeout numbers, and they kind of put it all together or Scooble put it all together for a really good season last year that got him the Cy Young. So I think the expectation is similar with Crochet, where you see flashes of it one year and you want to see that turn it into a really good full season. But yeah, I mean, you've probably watched more Scooble than I have, so you can hone on him a little bit more. He's really, really good, though. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, that's so fun to watch, dude. He's had like looking at those low innings in the past. He's had two Tommy John surgeries. I believe one was when he was in college with think it was Seattle, University of Seattle. And then one was that like 22, 23 kind of they timed it good, so he still got some innings in, but definitely been hit by the injury bug. But now looking at his first full season, absolutely lights out. Triple Crown, led league in
Mm.
wins with 18, 2.39 ERA in 192 innings. Led the league in WAR with a 6.3, just absolutely nasty to watch him. Like his fastball to change up, like to go from like that speed, and then like watching the like pitching ninja does it, the tunneling.
Yeah,
I don't understand how anybody could even like, even if you guess what he's gonna throw, like that changeup is still so nasty.
yeah,
And then to pair with like the slider is absolutely crazy. So just watching him is so fun. And another big thing is the Tigers, they whiffed on two first overall picks in Casey Mize and Spencer Torkelson. I guess we can find out if they
yeah,
complete.
yeah. We'll see
But
about
as
that.
of now, those are busts for what they should have been. Herrick School was ninth round pick out of Seattle University in
Oh,
2018. Ninth round. Just like absolutely crazy um hole there from the drafting a future Cy Young winner there. But I'm super scared if they're gonna extend him. Um, what do you think? Do you think there's any chance the Tigers either extend him or sign him when he turns free agent?
get him the free crazy
Oh.
stuff crust Little Caesars pizza.
Yeah.
Um, Okay, so how many years do you know off the top of your head what his arb like what does his arb look like? How many years does he have
You
2 years
got two
left?
more years,
2 more years, including this one?
including this year, yeah.
I don't know. Like, do the Tigers, I don't do they don't really sign big free agents like this, do they?
They did until the owner died and then his son took over, but
Okay.
um like I don't know. It's tough to tell because they've been in rebuild mode, so
Yeah, that's true.
teams aren't going to sign like huge guys when they're rebuilding, but like they've been willing to spend some money, like Eduardo Rodriguez when they signed him, Javi. I know that's turned out bad, but they did show some willingness to
Yeah,
spend. They did offer Bregman the biggest contract, so like,
right.
but I think Scooble is gonna if he posts anything at all similar to this year, if he continues this at all, I think he's gonna need like a $350 million contract with how this is trending in terms of money
Yeah.
and inflation in these contracts. I think it's gonna be so tough to compete with these other big market teams.
Yeah, he'll be 30 when he's a free agent. So you still will probably expect to get, I don't know, good 4 or 5 years at least out of him when you're signing him. And I think you're right. If he keeps this up, it might be hard for Detroit to match other offers from different teams. Um, and I would even say there's a world. I mean, you can turn off your ears for this if you want, but if this core that the Tigers kind of have right now doesn't really end up working, there is a world where he gets traded before his arbitration is up, and
Oh,
you
dude.
get prospects out of him. If it's just not working there for him. So we'll see. It would suck to see him not pitch in Detroit, to be honest. I feel like he is a Tiger. But yeah, I mean, obviously hoping for the best for him and that team. And I think there's yeah, he's another guy. No reason to believe he won't keep that up. One guy I wanted to bring up before we end. Do you have any thoughts on Reynaldo Lopez?
Like, do I think what he did last year is legit?
Yeah, so I read there was a story that said he's shooting for 30 to 35 starts in 200 innings. So last year it was a 1.99 ERA and 135 innings. So it was pretty good. He's a fastball slider guy. That's kind of it, to be honest with you. Barely throws a curve, barely throws a change. And the underlying stuff, they like the fastball, but everything else they don't really like at all. He's not like a huge strikeout guy, not a huge like great walk guy either. Extension isn't great. Like it's weird to kind of pin this guy. And something I noticed is Fangraphs, they have a left on base percentage, which I'm in taking as like when guys are on base, what percentage of time do you leave them on, instead of letting run scores? He had the highest in the MLB at 87%. So I think that's why his ERA was really low. But
That's kind of alarming. Yeah.
right, that's what I'm saying is are we going to see that kind of come back down to earth and he's going to let on more runs? His FIP was also almost a full ERA higher than what his ERA was,
Hmm.
and his expected ERA is a 3.94. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's like I want to buy into him a little bit, and I mean he's 31, but it's just so hard to. I didn't know
Well,
if you had anything on him.
there's there's no planet where he finishes with under two area again.
Yeah,
There's not even there's not even a chance of that happening. Um, but like you said, his FIP was one higher or almost one higher. Like yeah, it's still even that's a 2.92. So even if you're telling me
true.
Lopez posted 2.92, I'm still probably pretty surprised.
Yeah,
But yeah, his fastball is very, very good. Like you said, everything else is kind of like a little scary. Um, you were talking about his fan graphs, kind of like the advanced stuff, but Baseball Savant does not like him really that much either.
yeah.
Um, expected batting average was in 44th percentile. Everything else is either like 70 percentile or like lower, like 25 percentile.
It's not top end stuff, definitely.
Yeah, definitely not. But I mean, I could still definitely see him posting like a 3.5, which I mean,
Yeah.
if you tell the Braves that he's going to pitch 170 innings at a 3.5, I think they're more than happy.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely.
this is the White Sox guy dating
Yeah.
back to
Former White
2023.
Sox. Yeah, I think going off of your point, they don't need him to be an ace, which is perfect. You can kind of work him and see how he's feeling because he also had that injury late last season as well. It is weird to see such a big jump between the ERA and then the FIP, but also the expected ERA being up at 4. That's definitely
Yeah.
something. Your guy Ronel Blanco 2.8 ERA, a 4.15 FIP with a 4 expected ERA. So we might see a little regression from him this year.
Yeah. He's another guy that's like, I don't even know what happened. Like he wasn't even supposed to be on the team to start last year, and then they tried him out, and then he was insane. But a lot of these guys are so interesting. It's
Yeah.
like certain guys, and you can kind of comment on this, but like Framber Valdez is a little bit too. Like his advanced numbers are still good, but like he outperforms them. Do you think there's like a such thing as some guys are just gonna outperform their advanced stats like every year, and we just have to admit it, and we just have to like accept it, and like he's gonna be good this year? Or do you think that's kind of like going against what the point of advanced numbers are?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think there is guys that just give the middle finger to advanced metrics and underlying stuff, and they just go out there and they play their game. I think advanced metrics and like stats, like they tell you some of the story, but they don't tell you all of the story. I just it's so hard for how much that goes into pitching, especially, and like what pitch you throw in what situation, how your stuff is, like if it's feeling good, if it's not feeling good. Like there's an unlimited amount of factors that go into that, and I
Yeah.
think stats only cover so much of that. And so to me, it like is it's good to look at it and you can kind of get a decent idea, but I would say a big part is also watching these guys and just looking at the basic like how many innings did you throw? How many earned runs did you let in? Are you
Yeah.
winning games for your team? And I know some people don't like to use the wins and losses, but that can be a factor. And like we said with Skeens earlier, 11-3 on a Pirates team that was 500 is extremely impressive.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, I don't want to just look at like Ronel Blanco again. He went 13-6, 167 innings at a 2.8. Like that's a great season.
Yeah.
And to just say like, oh well, his underlying stuff wasn't good, and then automatically assume he's like just applying that to say he's not a great pitcher is just yeah, I don't think that's fair.
Yeah.
But you can maybe use those things to say, okay, maybe he won't be as good as he was last
Yeah.
year.
I agree. But yeah, definitely some of these guys can beat those.
Hmm.
Um, like you were saying with Blanco, will he beat it to the extent that he did last year? Definitely not. But
Right.
I still can see him outperforming out of all pitchers like Blanco and Lopez. Like these are guys that are going to outperform their advanced numbers. So
Absolutely.
we can still expect some decent seasons potentially out of them. So
Yeah, I would expect that too. All right, well, that was actually, I feel like that was one of the ones we were most closely aligned on our lists. Not
mhm.
too much difference here. And I think it is, there's a pretty clear cut top 10 in general for the starting pitching, maybe some fluctuation here and there.
Yep.
But for my list, I had Gilbert, Kirby, Sale, Cole, Burns, Webb, Crochet, Skeens, Wheeler, and Scooble.
And I had Gilbert, Valdez, DeGrom, Webb, Sale, Cole, Burns, Skeens, Wheeler, and then Scooble.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, that is going to wrap up our position rankings and today's episode. Let us know what you think, as always, down below. Next episode is going to be talking about 2025 MLB season. It's getting really, really close. I think we're 2 weeks away from Tokyo opening day and then another week away from actual opening day. So
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be here before we know it. And we'll see how all our projections and all of our rankings kind of play out the season. So that'll be exciting. Yeah, so be sure to follow along with us. Signing off for today, me and Parker. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.